A baby is born tonight. Someone weighs it, wraps it, writes a number on its ankle, and lays it in a plastic cot next to a mother who is completely wiped out and completely alone. The lights go down, the door clicks shut, and we think that's normal. We think that's just how babies arrive. It isn't. It's one of the strangest, newest things our species has ever done. For almost all of human history, a baby was never born into a quiet room with one tired woman. It was born into a crowd. And nearly everything that crowd did on instinct, we're only now realizing was right. We picture ancient parents as clueless, filthy caves, high infant death, people just barely getting by. But when it came to a newborn, they weren't winging it. They were doing things we've had to reinvent with machines and studies and hospitals. Some of it we still haven't caught up to. Go to a camp in the Ituri rainforest in what's now the Congo. Maybe 30 people, everyone knows everyone. A woman has just given birth. Now, in our world, this is the big moment where mom and baby get left alone to bond. Here, the baby barely gets an hour with her before it's lifted away, not by a doctor, by her sister, then an aunt, then someone's grandmother, then a woman who isn't even related. The baby goes hand to hand around the fire while the mother lies back and finally rests. To us, that looks careless. It's the opposite. It's a system older than any of us, and when researchers actually counted it, they couldn't quite believe what they were seeing. In the 1980s, an anthropologist called Gilda Morley sat with the FA people and tracked exactly what happened to newborns, hour by hour. A baby got passed to around 14 different people in its first few hours of life. 14. And by a few weeks old, it was spending more than half its day in someone else's arms, not its mother's. It changed hands something like 8 times an hour. Think about what that teaches a brand new person. Before it can even focus its eyes, it's learning the world is full of people who will catch it. The researcher who spent her life explaining why this matters is Sarah Blaffer Hardy. Her whole point is simple, and it breaks the thing we all believe. We think a mother alone with her baby is the natural setup. It never was. Humans raise children in groups. We always have. And here's the part that gets me. Human babies aren't just okay with being passed around. They're built for it. A baby gorilla can grip its mom's fur and hang on almost straight away. A human baby can't hold onto anything, can't lift its head, can't cling for a second, so it does the only thing it can. It charms you. Hardy's argument is that human babies got so chubby and smiley and impossible to ignore precisely because they had to win over a whole circle of people, not just one. That gummy little smile isn't just cuteness. It's a newborn quietly gathering a team because the babies everyone adored were the babies who lived. So who's in that circle? This is the bit we've really forgotten. After the mother, the most important person to a newborn often wasn't the father. It was the grandmother. In the 80s and 90s, Kristen Hawkes lived with the Hadza in Tanzania, one of the last hunter-gatherer groups left. And she noticed something odd. The person hauling in the most food wasn't a young hunter or a young mum. It was the old women, grandmothers in their 70s, out for hours in brutal heat, digging tough roots out of hard ground, coming back with more than almost anyone. And they weren't eating it, they were feeding their grandchildren. This is the grandmother hypothesis, and it cracks a question nobody usually thinks to ask. Why do women live for decades after they stop being able to have kids? Almost no animal does that. A chimp stays fertile nearly to the end, but human women stop having children in their 40s and then carry on, strong and sharp, for another 30 or 40 years. That looked like a mistake for a long time. It isn't. Those years exist because a grandmother who lived long enough to feed her daughter's baby helped that baby survive. So the grandmothers who lasted longer ended up with more grandchildren who lasted longer. Hungry babies basically wrote long life into women. Which means when your gran reaches for the baby, or can't rest until everyone's been fed twice, that's not just her being sweet. That's a couple 100,000 years showing up right on time. Here's where it gets almost unbelievable, because the next thing they did sounds primitive and turned out to be genius. They almost never put the baby down. For nearly all of human history, a newborn was carried against bare skin day and night. No cot, no crib. No nursery down the hall. The baby slept on a body and woke on a body. And for years, modern doctors told parents the exact opposite. Don't hold them too much, you'll spoil them, put them down, let them learn to be alone. Turns out we were the ones who got it wrong. In the late 70s in Bogota, Colombia, the hospitals ran out of incubators and premature babies were dying. 2 doctors, Edgar Ray and Hector Martinez, tried something that sounded reckless. They took those tiny babies out of the broken machines and just strapped them to their mothers' bare chests, skin to skin, all day, all night. Everyone braced for the worst. Instead, the babies did far better. More of them lived. That's now called kangaroo care, and it's used in hospitals all over the world. And what those doctors stumbled onto is exactly what ancient humans already knew. A newborn can't run its own body yet. Held against skin, its temperature settles, its heart slows down. Its breathing lines up with the adults. Even better, the mother's chest actually warms up or cools down on its own to fix the baby's temperature, and nobody's deciding to do it. So the old habit of never putting the baby down was quietly doing the job of a machine we wouldn't invent for another 250,000 years, and it did more than keep them warm. Pressed to a chest, the baby hears the heartbeat it listened to for 9 months, feels every breath, gets rocked by every step. Its brain, growing like mad in those first weeks, is soaking in exactly the signals it expects. That carried baby isn't being spoiled, it's being built. And they'd cracked something else we now spend fortunes on: when to have the next baby. We plan it. They didn't have to, because the answer was hiding in something as ordinary as breastfeeding. In the Kalahari, anthropologists Richard Lee and Melvin Connor spent years with the Jutwasi. And the way mothers they're nursed looked nothing like our few big feeds a day version. They fed constantly, tiny amounts, all through the day and night for 3 or 4 years, and that near-constant feeding did something invisible. It switched the mother's fertility off. All that suckling kept ovulation shut down, so the next baby didn't come until the last one could walk and keep up. Their babies landed about 4 years apart. No pills, no calendar, no decision at all. The body just did the maths, and the maths was blunt. A mother crossing open land with one helpless baby couldn't survive two, so her body made sure there weren't two. The oldest birth control on Earth was a baby at the breast. Now look at your own life, because none of this is gone. It's all still running in you. Think about the last time someone carried a baby into a room. Watch what everyone does. They lean in. Their voices go soft and stupid. Everyone wants a turn, and the baby gets passed around, arm to arm to arm. Nobody taught you that. That's the FA thing. You're one of the 14 pairs of hands. Think about how a screaming baby goes quiet the second it's lifted onto a chest, and starts up again the moment you lay it down alone. That's not fussiness. That's a very old body that knows being put down alone once meant danger, and being held meant it was safe. Think about why your mum or your gran can't let you leave without checking you've eaten. And think about that line everyone says when a baby's born, that it takes a village. We treat it like a fridge magnet. It's not. It's the plain truth about the only way humans have ever actually managed to raise kids. And if you've ever tried to do it alone in a silent flat, no village, no gran down the road, no spare hands, and felt an exhaustion so deep it scared you, then hear this clearly. You're not failing, you're not weak. That's an ancient system looking around and realizing the crowd it was built for isn't there. We like to think ancient humans were rough drafts of us, but they'd solved skin to skin, and we forgot it for 200 years. They'd solved spacing out kids, and we swapped it for a pharmacy. They knew a baby needs a crowd, and we handed it to one exhausted mother behind a closed door and called that progress. They weren't simpler than us. When a baby came, they were wiser. We didn't invent how to welcome a new life. We inherited it, and then we lost most of it. The baby in your arms still remembers what we forgot.